Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aries for June 2015. Go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, or click on the link below this video to see more about my personal live coaching, also to see more about my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine. It's not a coincidence that it's a full moon cycle, since it takes that long to make new habits and break the old habits, and that is available on a sliding scale, so check that out. And while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community. We have a wild, sizzling, sweet, awesome, crazy, cool month. And I'm going to get to all of that. Before I do, I want to say one brief administrative note. Usually I don't talk about these kinds of things on the video, but I have had enough Aries complain about being last. And it is kind of comical because it is like Aries can tend to be impatient, so it's just like kind of Aries being Aries. But I do actually have a reason why I do that, and it's not to torture you, because I do have Aries rising, and I would never do that to you purposely, because I wouldn't like that done to me purposely. But I do try to have, I want to have, and I do have, the horoscopes in order. So starting Aries, Taurus, etc., so that it's easier for people to find their horoscopes on my page. In order to have them post that way, I have to post them backwards, because YouTube posts the last one you posted first. So I have to post Aries last in order to do that. And I have a lot of crazy variables in my life that sometimes interfere with my recording. So I can't always get to them right at the same time as I got to the others. So just know that I'm not doing it purposely, and that you do actually benefit from this happening, because I get more insights from talking about and thinking about and sitting with these transits. The longer I sit with them, the more insights come in. So you are actually benefiting from being last in that way. So I just wanted to speak to that. Okay, so we have so much sweetness going on. At the beginning of the month, we've got a little bit of yuckness, and we'll talk about that. And there's a little bit of something to watch out for more towards the middle of the month. But besides that, woo, we have so much awesomeness going on, and it's all happening in fire and air, which is going to light you on fire. And you might already have been feeling this. This is the beginning of May now, and I am feeling this now. And it's only going to get stronger into June, and we'll talk about more of the details of that. So if you're starting to feel like really creatively inspired early in this now, May-ish, then you know that these transits are only going to get stronger. So at the beginning of the month, we have the full moon in Sag. And full moons always bring this coming to completion, coming to fruition, emotional welling up of energy. But this particular full moon has some additional challenge beside it. And I do say challenge because for many Aries people with strong Aries energy, emotions are a nuisance unless they're a passion that's being driven out for something. But just emotions, we don't always have time for that. And at the full moon, sometimes we have to deal with it whether we want to or not. So this full moon has a square to Neptune. Whenever there's a challenging angle, and a square is one of those challenging angles, we see the side of a planet that is not as pretty, or not its higher potential. When we have sweet aspects, like we have from June 5th through June 29th, then we have more of a chance to see the awesomeness in the end of the spectrum for the planets involved. But in this challenging angle, and really, throughout May, although there's things that are sparking up, and there are wonderful things going on in May, there's a lot of deadlocking and challenges and delays and chaos and confusion. Especially the second half of May, there's these aspects with Neptune that are just bringing this element of not knowing what the hell is going on, wanting to, and just not. And sometimes there could be deception, there could be addictions. These are all the negative aspects of Neptune that the end of May into the beginning of June, culminating with this full moon, there's things that we don't know, and it could make you mad, and it could make you sad, and maybe something you didn't know will come out, or maybe something you were trying to hide comes out. There's this energy of deception and things that were hidden now coming out at this full moon. But after that, we have the sweetness, okay? So starting June 5th, and we know that when I give you a date, it's usually the days around that date that the manifestations can happen, not just on the date. We have the first of many aspects with Jupiter, and Jupiter is the great expander. and it brings growth and benevolence and optimism and luck. And for you, it's been moving through your 5th house. Even you late degree Aries placements, you now have Jupiter starting to heat up your 5th house. The rest of us have had it there longer, but every Aries is now feeling this energy of Jupiter expanding the 5th house, or the house of creativity, of children, of hobbies, of fun, romance. So Jupiter just being there on its own has a chance for this expansion. But now this month, we've got Mars, then the Sun, then we have Uranus making this amazing aspect, these amazing aspects with Jupiter. So it's just, your creativity is going to be completely out of control, and you're not even going to know what to do about it. So just be prepared to just have all of your stuff. I'm having chills now thinking about this. Just creativity is going to be beyond on fire. And you'll want to be getting this stuff out. Even if it's not out officially, you want to be getting it on paper, getting it on the computer, recording it, you know, getting all your ideas down. Since Uranus energy is so prominent this month, there's going to be this element of fleetingness. Okay, so you might have ideas that you think there's no way I can forget that idea. It's such a good idea. You'll forget it. You'll probably forget it because so many more ideas are going to come that you won't be able to keep track of them. So you have to have a journal for this. You have to. You don't usually write down these things because these are the ideas that can fuel your creative expression for the next 12 years. Jupiter has a 12-year cycle. So what's happening to you creatively right now is setting a precedence, is laying a foundation for the next 12 years. 12 years ago, when I had this going on, I started making products as a hobby, organic bath and body products, just as a hobby, because I didn't like the ingredients and things. And I was inspired and it was fun, and Jupiter was expanding my 5th house, so it was like a hobby. And then over that time, it turned into a business that sustained my family for extended periods of time. And it opened up this whole, that's an example that I have. And things that you are having happen as a hobby right now, they could turn into business in the future, or they could turn into something much bigger than they start out. The seeds are being planted creatively now. So if you feel yourself like all over the place or passionate about one thing, now is the time that it's really good to spend money on the things that give you pleasure. Even if it's something that seems like it's really silly, it doesn't matter. If you're happy doing it and it lights you up, you need to be doing more of that. The world needs that, and your own existence needs that, because when you're supercharged, you're attracting more wonderful things to you. So we have Mars making the first of those aspects. And some of you are going to have this accentuating your financial house. Some of you are going to have this Mars and Sun. So on June 5th and then June 8th, Mars and then the Sun both make this beautiful 60-degree angle to Jupiter. And Jupiter's in the 5th house, but for some of you, Mars is going to be in the 3rd house. Mars and the Sun are going to be in the 3rd house. And some of you are going to have Mars and the Sun in the 2nd house. And some of you will experience this in both. So the 2nd house is your finances. So your creative ideas can expand your earned income and improve your financial situation and your financial security. The other energy has to do with expression and getting information out, your mobility. So trips, surprise trips could happen, traveling, things that make you more mobile in a good way. And sharing of information. There'll be some very strong key points of sharing of information. And that's for all Aries, because these planets in Gemini, even if you don't have all of your Gemini placements in your 3rd house because you have a middle to later degree Aries placement, you're still going to have some of the 3rd house accentuated just by the fact that these personal planets are in Gemini, which rules your 3rd house. So 3rd house is mobility, it's transportation, it's communication. You're going to have your communication upgraded tremendously. So, and you'll notice this is going to come from the problems that you have in May with your devices, with your way of communicating with people. And we know that Aries can be very blunt. Not everybody jives with that. And if you're having relationship problems, you have to look to that as a partial reason why you're not having the intimacy that you want. Things involving your communication are going to come up in May, and if you rectify them, these beautiful aspects can really bring you amazing things. So then on June 9th, we have the Mars and the Sun making this same 60-degree angle to Uranus, which rules surprises, things, ideas that come out of the blue, inspiration. And all of this is happening in air and fire. Air and fire. This is amazing for you. And Uranus, of course, is in your sign. So in the previous months, we've had Uranus bringing not good things. We talked about if there's an angle that's not good, it usually brings out the worst potential in the sign, or the probability of the worst potential of the sign or planet is going to be brought out. But this angle, this is a beautiful angle. So the chance for happy surprises is dramatically increased. Of course, we can't see your personal chart. We never know, what things could happen at any time for any reason. And the horoscope does not cover your whole personal wiring and what's getting hit off there. This is the general horoscope. But in general, from the horoscope for June, the odds that people are going to experience happy surprises are significantly greater based on the common astrology. So then we have June 11th, Mercury's going direct in Gemini. And so between June 8th and June 14th, so like 3 days in either direction of this June 11th, this is the awkwardness of coming to a stop to make a U-turn. So if you're traveling 60 miles an hour or more, which your Aries loves to do, and you're going and then you have to make a U-turn, you have to go slow and you have to stop, and then, we don't like to stop. Stopping is annoying. And then you have to turn around. That's what Mercury is doing around June 8th to June 14th. It's this awkward coming to a stop and U-turning thing. So you're going to have things that come up, anything that was not already coming up with your devices, your cars, your mobility, things with siblings also have been highlighted here, and other relatives that are not your parents or kids. That is going to be awkward. And if you have to agree to something, like if opportunities are coming to you, which there's a really good chance they will, don't agree to anything completely until at least June 14th or after, because you don't have the whole picture, first of all. Mercury in retrograde and all those Neptunian challenging aspects are showing us that we don't have the whole picture. So if something comes in and it's like, wow, this is an answer to a prayer, it may be, but just sit with it and contain your usual self of saying yes before you even know what is happening. I know if someone comes to me and they're excited, I'm excited, I don't even know what's happening. I'm like, yes, okay, right? I don't even know what the whole thing is sometimes. It's just like, yay, right? You have to contain that at this time. You have to get more information. You have to read the fine prints and wait until you make your agreements, because there are things that you're going to miss that you're not going to be glad that you committed to. Now, in general, I don't recommend waiting just 3 days before Mercury goes direct before you start doing some things, but this is a unique month because May, June, July, August, September, October, we have Mercury and then Venus and then Mercury retrograde, and all the shadows and their shadows conflicting with one another. So we don't really have any time that is completely clear from a personal planet being retrograde in these months. But of that time, these last 2 weeks in June are your best times if you have to move forward in something with a relationship, with money things, with an agreement, signing something, business stuff, launches, things that you cannot wait until the end of October, November. These 2 weeks in June from June 14th to the end are your best times. Now, that's not meaning that they're not going to be free from some of the retrograde effects. For Venus, which Venus shadow period starts June 22nd. Mercury goes direct on June 11th. Its shadow period doesn't end until the 27th. Then Venus's post-retrograde shadow period starts June 22nd. So you see what I mean here? There's like no time where we're not somewhat covered by these things. But there's so many other superseding factors that there are going to be things that are like ready to go and they'll be okay to go. You just have to know that there's going to be pieces that come back that you didn't quite see them, and you want to leave as much flexibility in the arrangements and read and understand what you're agreeing to and try to get as many of the factors as you can think of talked about on the table before you agree. So from June 14th is a magical day that happens once every 2-ish years, where the sun, in all of its vibrance and life-givingness, makes this exact conjunction with Mars, which rules how you use your energy. And Mars is Aries ruling planet. So any aspects with Mars we're going to feel those more, for better or worse. But this month, they're for better. So Mars is just ruling this forward movement. And the sun is accentuating that. And June 14th is a power day because of that. So also on June 14th, Saturn, which has been retrograde, goes into Scorpio. And this is for the last couple of degrees. That's, you know, we had Saturn in Scorpio for years. It switched out into Sag at the end of December of 2014. Now it's going back into Scorpio. And this is karmic things involving relationships that have to be dealt with. There is unfinished business from this transit that has been an ongoing story with you and your relationships that if you rectify it, you're going to get goodies. And I was just thinking about this today. So this analogy of goodies. I like to inspire people to do things just because it's a good idea, not because they're going to get candy. Okay? At the end of it. I think that it's more pure and it makes more sense. And in this case, candy isn't very good for you. But we'll just use something else, like a treat that is good for you, like something that is a healthy treat, but you love it a lot. That's what you're going to get when you do this proactive work with your karmic ties in relationships while Saturn is dipping back into Scorpio. So you know if there's unfinished business, and if you don't know, it's going to be made clear because it's going to come back and you're going to say, this crap again, I thought we were done with this. There might have to be forgiveness. There might have to be compassion. There might have to be words exchanged and sentiments exchanged or energy exchanged that has to happen. There's something that has to happen here. And when it does, you'll get the gifts. That's how Saturn works. You work hard and then you get gifts. But Saturn gifts are like the ice cream that never melts that you have for 30 years. I guess that could sound like it's not very good, right, if it has chemicals in it keeping it from melting it. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. It's a goodie that you get to benefit from for the whole Saturn cycle, which is going to be a really long time. So just look deep into your heart and see if there's certain things that you can rectify with people. And if you do it, so many amazing things are going to come from that. So Saturn dipping into Scorpio is highlighting that energy. And then we have the new moon in Gemini on June 16th. Some of you are going to experience this as highlighting all of the things that we were talking about with the money thing. Some of you have this new moon energy in the second house, and the rest of you will have it in the third house. So more energy around money, earned income, new income streams, more mobility, sharing information, writing, publishing, speaking, projects will have these new chapters that open. Then on the 21st, we have another power day. The sun moves into Cancer, and we have our summer solstice, day of most light. And on June 22nd is that Jupiter in Leo trining Uranus in Aries. Now this trine, a trine is the most optimum sacred geometrical configuration that brings the most coherence. That's why we love them. That's why they feel good. That's why they're awesome. Everything goes down to math. And astrology is no exception. So all the things that we talk about with astrology, whether something's good or bad, that's based on the mathematical angle between them. It flavors the expression. And this is the best angle. So this has been happening loosely since last summer. Since Jupiter got into Leo, we've been having this loose trine with Uranus in Aries. But now it's full on. And you can be feeling this. I'm feeling this at the beginning of May. And you're going to be feeling this at the beginning of May too. And it's going to get stronger and stronger into the end of June, where that's where your creative faculties are so crazy right now. So if you're not trying to have children, you better watch out because you are super fertile. But anything involving your children that you have, or children you're trying to have, or babies that are not humans, you know, like I don't necessarily mean pets here because pets fall into a different house, but like creative projects that are babies, your life's work, your creative projects, whatever your equivalent of that baby, that thing that you're birthing, you are just so uplifted and so expanded, and things are coming out of the blue, and these kind of surprises where Uranus is in this nice angle is like, wow, that's an awesome idea. And there is going to be some energy from the past, right? Because we're in these retrogrades. So something from the past gets added upon with this new energy, and new life gets breathed into it. There's going to be this component from the past. And that's protective, so that as you're working on them in these retrograde energies, even if it's a newish idea, it's protected by the fact that it's linked to the past. So enjoy all of the wonderful things about that. And then at the end of June 28th and 29th, we have Venus and Leo making an awesome angle to Uranus. And Venus rules love and beauty and money, and Uranus is surprises, and they're in a favorable angle. So you can see it's pretty exciting. It's exciting for everybody, but for the fire and air signs, that people that have predominant energy in fire and air, especially, well, I don't want to say especially fire, but any of the planets that have, like Jupiter is in Leo, Uranus is in Aries. So even though that's going to affect the air signs, they're actually in the fire signs. And all this month, the bigger planets that are involved are in fire. So fire signs are, I think, are going to benefit the most, if you can even say that, you know, because everyone is really going to benefit from them. But I think that Aries is going to have a really amazing time. So what happens if all this awesomeness is going around and you're not having anything happen that's great for you, and things are still crappy, and magic is happening, and you feel left out and you're pissed off about it, and you want to blame astrology? Don't do it, because it's not astrology's fault. It doesn't mean astrology doesn't work. If you are not experiencing what people say you can, if there's a disconnect there, that is because your personal inner program is not a match for what the energy wants to bring you. So if you are not feeling creative unleashing going on in May and June, then I can tell you for absolute certain, without seeing your chart or seeing your energy personally, that you have a program about your creativity that is blocking these amazing potentials that want to come in. Because if your program is blocking all of this big energy, then it's a big block, and you have to work it out within you. So that's why I can't separate inner work from astrology. You always hear me talk about going in, inner work, inner work, inner work, inner work. I'm not going to stop talking about that, because I couldn't in good conscience tell you the energies of the stars and not tell you you're not as likely to get as big a manifestation if you have a program that's blocking the story. So imagine this. This is how I see this energy playing. From the ethers, where the planets are making these angles, it funnels down through your crown chakra raw potential of the transits. So let's talk about this Jupiter and Uranus as an example. This is like big, and it's been ongoing, and it's getting stronger, and it can affect your life for the next 12 years, and things you do now you can make money from in the future, and happiness and fulfillment in the future, besides just now. Okay, so that's being funneled in as raw potential into your crown chakra. Now it comes into your being, it mixes with your program, your imprint. In your natal chart, we can see your imprint. Okay, this is the story of your ancestry. This is the story of your personal imprint. It's coded in your musculoskeletal structure, in your cells, in your brain wiring. That's your coding, that's your imprint. So the potentials mix with your coding, and whatever you're in agreement about manifests. So let's say a difficult transit comes in, and it's like devastation and awfulness, and you have a program that's like, yeah, that's normal, I should experience devastation and awfulness as a regular thing, then there's a match, and they say yes, green light, and then out your projector of your third eye reflecting out into your world creates the consistent experience of devastation and awfulness. Now that's not to say that even if you change your program that bad things aren't going to happen. This is the earth plane, everyone's going to die, bad things are going to happen, but having things happen in a way that you can manage them, or being able to stay uplifted while they happen, or not having a constant succession for your whole life of them. You see what I'm saying? There's a big, wide gray area of how you can have a better experience. And all of that is dependent on you shifting your program. So if you have this good thing come in as a potential, if your program is saying, nope, can't do that, the transits bow down to your wiring. As powerful as the transits are, they bow down to your wiring. So you want to get your imprint to where it says, I love myself, I'm worthy, I'm awesome, I am a bright shining light in the world, and I am here for a purpose that only I can fulfill. and I can be abundantly wealthy, and I can have fulfillment on every level. When you have your program say that, then when transits like these come in and want to give you all that, then both they say, yes, we got the 2 green lights out through your third eye projection out into your experience is your manifesting capacity into this wonderful experience. So it's in your hands. Certain things are not in your hands, but this is in your hands. Okay, so that's why we want to do the inner work. That's why I talk about the inner work. That's why if you're not feeling great things and great potentials are happening, that it's you personally that you have to do it. But the good news is that even though the answer is within you, and that can seem challenging because it's like, oh, I'm doing this? That's not good. That's the seed of empowerment. Yes, you're doing this. You're creating your quality of experience right now. And you can have a dramatic impact on that by looking inward. The way out is in. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful month. If you want some help navigating this or shifting your perspective or understanding the variables at play in your chart, definitely look at my website, aspiritualspark.com, and see about live coaching. Also, if that's not in your budget or if you want to work just on your own, get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which I have put together from seeing thousands of charts over a long period of time and seeing how the energy is playing out in this time-space continuum and what are the common people that people all over the world are having. Humans are the same in that way. I talk to many people for whom English is not their first language. And it doesn't matter where we are in the world. We're human and we have these same things that we're having problems with, these same things we want help with. And the Shine program is an answer to that. And while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community. And I hope you have a wonderful month and that these amazing transits bring you all wonderful things. And I'll see you next month. Okay, bye.